Now that Microsoft has terminated Windows 10 and now the drive is onto Windows 11, now it is time for them to implement their plan. And everybody who is sticking along with Windows through this journey is simply going to become unwittingly caught up in their massive data collection scam based entirely on AI everywhere. I hope you're ready. Thanks for checking out this video by Switch to Linux. Here on Windows Wednesday, we like to talk about the crazy things Windows doing. Why do we do that? Well, it's because the crazy things that Windows did is what led me to switch to Linux and alternative phone sources and, hey, just walk down this entire path of privacy. Very important stuff to think about. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave us a like and a comment down below. And one of the things what I find interesting right now is Microsoft keeps on teasing things and then coming out with more stuff, doubling down on a lot more AI. Now, originally, I can't remember exactly what my first thought was, but I started reading a couple articles that theorized that Microsoft's entire plan was just to push AI embedded deeply into the system. And while I looked at that and said, well, that's interesting, I am just completely on board with this view now. And the problem is AI, for the most part, still kind of sucks. There are things you can do with it that are pretty good. But when you're talking about utilizing AI, you have to use it at very specific places. The problem is Microsoft is cramming it everywhere, and AI needs that sweet, sweet data in order to properly work. And that really is the ultimate push that they're doing. Of course, they tried to do this giant Copilot Plus PC push, which I'm not sure if it was a massive success or not. The problem is it required these ARM processors for the most part that were not nearly as good, particularly at gaming, saw a lot of performance degradation, and the computers were a lot more expensive, and believe it or not, a lot of people are still highly suspicious of AI. You see, AI is not entirely bad, but it has to be utilized in the proper place, in the proper way, and by your own specific cognitive choice. And that really is the thing that Microsoft is trying to take away from us, is this cognitive choice. They instead want to cram AI so far down our throats we end up choking to death, but Microsoft doesn't really care. It's implementing all of its data policies. It's like that alien sucking on your face, dipping that thing right on down your throat. And there's really nothing you can do about it except, just choose not to participate and go with something like Linux instead. But, of course, last week they teased out some things they were going to do, and I skipped that article saying, yeah, they're going to push more AI. But I figured let's go ahead and chat about that, because not only did they do this, but now they're already teasing another big AI release for a couple more days out from now, which is just totally nonsense. So ultimately, what they're trying to do and what this article was and what that first push was is effectively they're trying to resurrect Cortana only as Copilot AI instead. So instead of having your search function, now you have a Copilot function. Remember how you used to have that Cortana thing down there and you got to get rid of that for the search function? Well, now you got to get rid of that. The Cortana is replaced with the search. Now the search is going to be replaced with Copilot. Of course, you can get back to it. And this is all part of Microsoft's plan where they want, I think it's called Copilot Vision, where the idea here is that they want you to interact with your computer with voice. Can you imagine like going into your cube farm at work and everyone's over there talking to your computers instead of, pointing and clicking and typing and things like this? That would be like utter nonsense. Just think for a moment about what that might look like. But that really is their goal. So you can see here in the article, there is this giant button down here. One of them calls up the Copilot. One of them is a microphone to just talk to your computer. And the other one is the glasses, which is the vision to see everything on your screen. So the idea here is that Copilot Vision will be able to see whatever is on your screen and interact with it. Microsoft wants you to interact with your computer simply by talking to it. No longer the horrible pointing and clicking with a mouse. How terrible. We all must talk to it. And don't forget, every time that these big companies want us to talk to their devices, they're analyzing that and recording it and saving it and putting it in a profile. They might be using it to train AI, but whenever they come out with these privacy policies, we're not using so-and-so to train AI. Not particularly comforting, because you're still collecting it and pouring it within my data profile. So that is certainly an issue here. So they say here, like virtually every major Windows announcement in the last 3 years, it is more around generative AI. So remember the generative AI. The generative AI is going to be the large language models. You give it prompts and it will create stuff for you. Basically do all your work. It effectively just rots your brain cells out. But they're also doing this preoccupation with agentic AI, and that really is where Copilot Vision is. Agentic AI is where you have the ability to come in here and do something for you. It acts as your agent, as it were. And so effectively what they're trying to do is cram all this kind of stuff into you. Now, some people using this kind of stuff says, yeah, when you're not paying for it, it kind of sucks. And when you do pay for it, it still kind of sucks. That's what some people were saying about it. But of course, the chief marketing officer, Yosef Medhi, says AI PCs should be able to recognize input naturally in text or voice and be able to guide users based on their screens at any given moment. And that AI assistant should be able to take action on your behalf. So effectively, you're just kind of sitting here like, I don't know, like, what is the end goal of all of this? You're no longer a creative. Our brain cells have rotted out when we are utilizing AI to this deep degree. Okay, what is our purpose here? Well, that's the end goal. Our purpose is non-existent. We can just be kind of shoveled off to Canada's Maids program or something. I don't know. There's certainly no more need for us because the computer will do everything. Is it the creative input? We don't have creative input anymore. AI's taken all those jobs too, But the idea is you will sit at your computer and you will be able to talk to it or type things into it. Like, why not use this? We have this amazing invention. It's called a mouse, and they work really well. I mean, they just move things around. Of course, if you're kind of those Linux geeks, you might be doing everything on your keyboard base instead. That's kind of fun too. Those keyboard based operating systems are very, very good when you actually take the time to learn them. The biggest of today's announcements is the introduction of Hey Copilot. Oh, dear. The activation phrase for the Windows 11 PCs. So now you're in that cube farm and you say, hey, Copilot, and now the nearest 5 PCs to you all keep on, yes, 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 yes. Kind of like vision that scene from Toy Story 2 where Buzz goes down the aisle. Buzz, yes, yes, you see all this kind of stuff, and if we're all talking to our computers in a cube farm, someone says, oh, hey, Copilot, every single computer is now listening. It's like mass chaos is going to be ensued here. All right, that's okay though. Everyone will be laid off. No one will be there, and no more jobs. But you say, hey, Copilot, and then this will enable the user to summon the chatbot from the depths of hell, I guess. And then using only their voice other than a mouse or a keyboard. Of course, if you do want to use a keyboard, either the Copilot key or the same Windows C keyboard to bring up Cortana will summon Copilot from hell. Saying goodbye will dismiss Copilot when you're done with it. And of course, this amazing invention called the mouse is now being left out, which is kind of frightening because, it's a very useful device. In fact, I imagine that Windows grab, let's see, the 7th icon down from the screen. Is it easier for me to just go point to the 7th icon down on the screen with a mouse? Of course it is. But it's not cool. It's not trendy. It's not Copilot-y. And that's kind of what Microsoft wants to get into. Of course, they talk about Macs and smartphones have had the, functionality for a while. Of course, we don't talk about Bixby, but, the key limitation of the original Cortana and Siri, Alexa, and the rest of their ilk is that it could really only do a limited number of predetermined list of actions. Of course, Amazon is working on fixing that with the Alexa Plus, which is now completely taking over the screens of all the people who bought these Alexa Plus devices, and they kind of hate them because of how many ads they push. Isn't that wonderful? All of this is just to sell you ads at every single corner of your various devices. But it is a predetermined list of actions. Of course, some have tried to get you to program the actions or things like that. But the idea behind the AI is now it's not limited to a series of actions. It can just kind of act as an agent on all of the information. Complex queries or anything the assistants don't understand often get bounced to the general web search. So, you're searching up, you're asking your Windows computer to give you instructions on making your pizza, and it really doesn't know how to fix that cheese problem. It goes to the internet and decides to read this Reddit post about putting glue on your pizza. How wonderful. Of course, since people have no earthly idea how to cook anymore, some fool out there is bound to do it. All right, learn to cook, folks. So to make Copilot more useful, Microsoft has announced that Copilot Vision is being rolled out worldwide in markets where Copilot is offered. Of course, it has been available here. And the Vision will read the contents of a screen or an app window and can attempt to offer useful guidance or feedback, like walking you through an obscure task in Excel or making suggestions based on a group of photos or a list of items. So, of course, they're doing Gaming Copilot. Is this kind of like, will anti-cheat pick up Gaming Copilot? Hey, Microsoft, shoot every individual person that's not on my team instantaneously once they make any form of movement. Is anti-cheat going to be? I mean, inquiring minds want to know. All right. So beyond these tweaks or the wider rollouts for existing features, Microsoft is also testing a few new AI and Copilot related additions to change how you interact with your PCs by reading and editing files. So now it has access to your files. Remember this AI that's constantly sucking up your data to train it and build profiles and all this kind of stuff, and now has access to your files. Of course, they say later on that the AI actually has its own user account on your computer to limit access of things. I don't know how it's going to be limited access if you're giving it access to all your files. It's kind of like a shared folder, isn't it? Just inquiring how this works. And they do stress here that you do not have to have a Copilot Plus PC for all of this AI nonsense. It's simply going to appear on your computer for you. But don't worry, it is opt-in for now. Until, of course, they toggle that toggle switch because people don't want this nonsense. And I'm still wondering, why can't they just have a simple code base without any of it all? Like, say, hey, remember like back, was it Windows 98, I think? I know XP also had like what'd they call them? Were they widgets? Or I don't know, they had like tools you could install, extra little add-ons. What's wrong with having these things in the Microsoft store? I mean, you're forcing us to have the store anyway. What's wrong with having all this stuff like AI bloat package install now? I mean, that'd be a better approach, but they don't want to do that. So the other ones they're saying, of course, this is not just Copilot Plus PCs, because this Copilot Vision will work on any computer that you have running Windows 11. Maybe that's why they wanted it pushed everywhere. So, of course, they're talking about the Copilot app, the generative features like Notepad and Paint. Windows Recall feature has a little call out in here as well. I think, though, the problem is that the AI that can see your screen in the Copilot Vision, this can still collect and store information about you and about your screen. And that is potentially dangerous. They say the standard search field has been part of Windows 10 and 11 for the last decade. It's being transformed into an Ask Copilot field. This feature will still be able to look through local files, just like the current version, but Microsoft envisions it as a keyboard-driven interface for Copilot for the times you can't or don't want to use your voice. Once again, the mouse. Where's the mouse in this discussion? I mean, really. I know I'm kind of an old-school boomer. I'm not into the window managers and the GNOME and the Cosmic with all the keyboard finagling my screens around just by this mystical, magical button of key things. I'm an old school. I just want to point and click, point and click, point and click. All right. Of course, they don't want you to point and click. They want you to talk and text. Kind of interesting, really. Of course, if you're going to do away with computer mice, I would definitely go into a window manager on Linux than any of this nonsense. But anyway, let's go ahead and proceed here. So we know the rather old search functionality lives in the start menu or the option of fallback if you disable Copilot. So we don't even know. We don't even know. Can I just get rid of the AI and have a basic search bar? No, pleb. Use our data collecting AI. Nothing like doing an internet query for the AI to search your local computer for files, right? A feature called Copilot Actions will expand the number of ways Copilot can interact with the local files, sorting through recent vacation photos, extracting information from PDFs and other documents as two possible cases. But this is an early preview version will focus on a narrow set of cases. But it's meant to be general purpose agent capable of interacting with desktop and web applications. That's kind of what their goal is. So, hey Copilot, look through my vacation photos for the certain photos. What's wrong with opening it up yourself and looking? And I can understand. I mean, there's times like, okay, I know I've seen a photo. In fact, we talked about this the other day. I was sharing some photos from I drove through a lot of historical places on the Oregon Trail recently, and I was putting stuff up there, and we were kind of talking about it. And I mentioned somewhere I actually have photos of the actual wagon ruts in the Oregon Trail going through a part in Wyoming that does not grow plants very well. And so you can still see the original wagon struts, and I could feed all that stuff in the AI. Hey, AI, go look for that photo. Of course, it'd probably not even know what the world I'm talking about. Oregon Trail, that was so long ago. Can I introduce you in playing the video game instead? That's probably the response I would get. So it would probably not be a big time saver. I just have to, no, okay, it's about this folder. Okay, it's about this time. All right, let's go ahead and look for it. So there you have it. Ultimately, though, they are wanting to also be able to change your computer settings again. Remember, they tried to do this, and I guess it didn't work really well. We stopped hearing about it. So they're taking another step at allowing Copilot to change the settings on your PC, something earlier versions were able to do, but were removed in subsequent iterations. So apparently they tried and failed to change your computer settings. Maybe people kept on going in and saying, hey, Copilot, turn off all of that tracking stuff. And they're like, oh, we can't possibly do that. So Copilot will attempt to respond in plain language to questions about your PC settings with a link to the appropriate part of Windows' large labyrinthian settings app. Maybe there's a thought. Simplify your settings, Windows. Of course, there's a number of other various Copilot things that they are pointing at. They want you to be able to interact with Copilot on Microsoft Office. They want to be able to go and just simply let the AI write their documents for you. Once again, you're literally just training the computer to take over your job at some point in time. And then they mention down here, they mention about the things they learned from Recall. Of course, the way they were trying to push that out initially was just this massive blunder. And they kind of learned from that. The ultimate take-home message is Copilot actions are, at least for now, in the testing phase, read, disabled by default. Microsoft Corporate Vice President Windows Security Dana Hung put up a lengthy accompanying post explaining several steps they've taken to protect user privacy and security when using it. These include running AI agents with their own dedicated user accounts to reduce their access to data in your user folder. You see, I have a hard time believing that they're running this to limit access to what's in your folder when the entire purpose is to interact with your files on your home folder. So I don't think this is quite the privacy thing that they're thinking. They say mandatory code signing, so presumably so that you know the AI is functioning correctly for Microsoft, and giving agents the fewest privileges they need to do their jobs. All of the agent's activities are documented so users can verify what actions have been taken and correct the errors. So now you have an extra workflow to go through the log of all the things the AI did wrong and then attempt to repair them. Very interesting. And so ultimately, they are really pushing all of this AI nonsense down upon you. Now that you have been forced and you have accepted Windows 11. Well, I guess I just got to do this. And now you're I just have to do this. And you're just going to keep going until you take an active stand. So I encourage you, please start switching to Linux. But of course, they're not done with their AI. They have just today, they have teased yet another Thursday event, pushing yet another AI update. It's like, how can you possibly push this much more AI into the system? So Microsoft's social accounts on Instagram has started teasing another Copilot announcement, centered on an AI called Myco. So Myco is an AI that has been available in GroupMe chats, and effectively it is literally an AI that will engage and participate in group chats. Okay, be honest. Let me know in the comments. Does anybody actually want to engage in group chats? This is, by the way, kind of like how they added, I don't know the exact name of it, but when you're using Microsoft Teams, Microsoft is now throwing another AI in there to listen to everything and see everything and do everything and take notes on everything. They have literally put in a spy in your Teams meeting, and you can even see it there. It's like, and I had to jump on a Teams call with somebody, and this thing was on there, and she's like trying to fight with this stupid thing, trying to get rid of this stupid AI. Like, how do I get this thing out of here? Like, I don't know. Stop using Teams. I don't want to be here on Teams. Use Jitsi like the rest of us with, security and privacy minded stuff. So that was interesting. They put that in. Well, this is one of those for group chats. So now you'll have an AI spy in your group chats. Now that was available for there, and effectively the other idea is that this is an assistant designed for learning functions. But we don't know yet. I guess we'll know on Thursday when that announcement comes out. But effectively, it's this guy over here that's going to be listening to everything going on in your computer and your group chats and trying to engage even more. Is built into the study function. And what I found the best about this was the various comments. So I've been using Windows. This person says, I've been a Windows fan since Windows 95, and I'm having a hard time where this is going now. Copilot slapped onto everything, and of course, most of the stuff is unusable without paying for a subscription. More money. Gotta extract more money out of us, even though it's like costs so much money to live already. Now they want us to have subscriptions for everything. Add to the mess of how Copilot is positioned, Copilot Pro, Copilot M365, and several versions there, and I'm about to give up and disable the entire thing as much as possible and be done with it. Lately, AI has gotten in the way more than it has been proven helpful. There's a balance to be struck where AI can add real value, but I think Microsoft crossed a line into AI for AI's sake, and I would completely agree with that. UGAB says, to be fair, it's not unusable. It's not unusable when not paying for a subscription. It's even unusable when paying for it. And there's a video where in Some Ordinary Gamers the other day where he was trying to show this kind of stuff. And yeah, indeed, it did not perform nearly as well as he had anticipated. And my favorite down here is from Ron F. In Portuguese, Myco refers to capuchin monkey. I think I pronounced that right. And is also slang for a moment of self-embarrassment, fitting considered how Microsoft often seems to swing into those. Yeah, that's pretty much about the case. So here is a situation where Microsoft is cramming AI in every far facet corner of the operating system. The AIs, of course, collect a bunch of data. They get in our way, and they completely annoy the bejeebers out of all of us. And I want to end this kind of saying, like, Microsoft, it doesn't have to have Windows being this bad. We know from, like, the tiny core that Microsoft and Windows 11 can function without all of this crap. Why not just make a copy of Windows available that is completely devoid of AI nonsense? Nothing more than a simple system that is a Windows operating system without all of the encryption, without all of the online accounts, without all of the AI, without all of the data collection. Just give us a version of Windows that just runs executable Windows files. This is not hard. I might even be willing to pay a subscription for that if I were so inclined to run Windows anymore, which I am not any longer. But the point is, all of this stuff does not have to be part of Windows 11. They are choosing to make it part of Windows 11. Why? Well, they want to collect your data. They want to collect your subscription fees. They want to upsell your services. And they want to stay on top of it. They want to embed Copilot so far down your throat like the face-sucking alien that you cannot use any other AI, at least not without this slightly more inconvenience. It is literally their turn of the century moment once again to embed their service that you don't even want so deep into the operating system you can't get it out. It's begging for another class action lawsuit, begging for another antitrust lawsuit, but in our current environment, that will probably not happen. Microsoft does not have to be this stupid with Windows, but they're choosing to be this stupid with Windows. The best thing you can do is stop giving them your business. Stop using this crap. I won't even get a GitHub account because the service is run by Microsoft. How long before you have to have a Microsoft account to use it? And guys, I'm here to tell you, the vast majority of people can switch to Linux. It is very possible to. It's going to take a little bit of change. It's going to take a little bit of functional brain cells. I know the problem is that the AI has been here long enough that most of us have lost our functional brain cells. So this is a Herculean task. But at the same time, it is something that is very possible to do, and I would highly encourage anybody to do it because they are doing this just to monetize you. You are the widget. The only reason they do not want to send you up to Canada for the maids program is because you make them more money. And as soon as you stop doing that, they don't care about you, and that's off to maids you go. So there is our thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below.